without him sending you out. Now, let me say something. When God sends a person out, he knows without a shadow of a doubt that they are more than well equipped to handle the assignment he's given them. A lot of people have made shipwreck and made a mess of things in the kingdom because they didn't have instructions, or they didn't like the one instruction they were given, which was told to wait. And they moved ahead of the instructor without receiving instructions, and they don't have a blessing. So when you don't have the Father's approval to do something, you're out of order. So Jesus gives these disciples instructions because up until this point in time, he had been busy preparing them and empowering them for the tasks and assignments that they would have to carry out. So as we see in verse number 16, verses 1 through 15, he's talking about preparing them. But now, verses 16 on, he wants them to understand, I'm sending you out, but understand, you're going to encounter some opposition. Anyone that does anything for God in the kingdom and ministry, you've got to understand that you're going to encounter some level of opposition. And newsflash, the opposition is not necessarily going to be outside the four walls of the church. Some of your greatest battles, and conflicts will be in the house. So don't get amazed, don't get surprised when Sister Do-Right, who speaks in tongues all throughout the service, becomes a hard person to work with. Don't be startled. That's why you've got to know that God gave you the assignment, and you've got to have the grace to be able to deal with Sister Do-Right when she don't act right. Y'all hang around with me for a few minutes. We'll get it. We'll get together. Behold, I send you forth as sheep. Look at the language of Jesus here. As sheep in the midst of wolves. I send you forth. This is Jesus speaking to his disciples. After giving them instructions about telling them that they were going to go forth, now he's talking about the degree of testing, the degree of opposition that they would face as he sends them forth. I'm sending you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. I'm fascinated many times. How many of you watch those, ever watch like Animal Planet, Discovery Channel, and, National Geographic?
Oh, yeah.
You watch those documentaries on animals and wildlife, and, I just get fascinated to study the nature of certain animals. And the other night I was watching this one on elephants and how the mother elephant, when the baby is born, and within minutes after being born, the mother elephant has that baby elephant walking, and she has that baby. It's called a cub, by the way, too, which kind of fascinated me. And she would have that cub right next to her, and the mother elephant will give the baby cub a swift kick, to let that baby know, don't get too far away from me. Because you may be an elephant, but there are lions lurking about. But it just fascinated me to see nature and how everything that God creates has a sense of self-preservation. But Jesus here, now wait a minute, this kind of strikes me, Mumsy, how Jesus would send innocent lambs in a territory filled with wolves. Why would God, who is so wise, send a harmless, docile creature like a lamb in a territory filled with hungry, ravenous wolves? Why would God send us as people of God in territories that are dangerous and could be potentially dangerous